नाम संकीर्तन की जाय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gaurango, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So you're having a class after how many days? In the morning you're having class in the temple? Okay. So Bhagavatam class is here. Okay. And so Bhagavatam class everyone comes or? Everyone. Okay. Good. Anyway, for me it's a new class after a long time. So, anyway, so you must have been watching the class that I was giving from my room there, upstairs, and I'm happy to see all of you, hale and hearty. How come he is sitting up down there with a mask around his face? Who is that? Okay. Okay. Cough, dry cough or wet cough? Cold. Okay. Okay. Coronavirus symptom is the cough is there, but it's dry. Whereas cold cough, flu is wet, mucus. And so everyone is hale and hearty. I'm very happy to hear that. Maintain a very strict order in maintaining the safety measure, precautionary measure. I just got to know today that about 45 devotees got affected in Bhakti Vedanta manner. There was Shruti Dharma Prabhu left his body, so many devotees came, about 600-700 devotees came for the program, for his memorial program, and they suspect that during that time actually they infected this. Also one devotee, he was my disciple in London, he also died of coronavirus. And his son is in a critical condition in the hospital. So that is the first one that happened. He was one of the first one to die in London actually. And some people also became affected by that. Because devotees were going to see him. So it's very nice that, it's very wise that Narendra Modi is taking these measures. Like Sunday was curfew all over India. Why that was a good measure? Because this virus actually remains outside often. It is not airborne, it is not waterborne. Generally it comes from touch, and people sneezes, coughs with droplets, the small water drops as one coughs, it goes out. And that time if somebody is near and he touches it, gets it, breathes it, then he gets it. But the other dangerous situation actually is it falls on the ground, those droplets, and there it stays for 6 to 12 hours. And if somebody touches, like somebody, these droplets fell on a table, somebody touches the table, he gets it in his hand. Then he touches his mouth or eyes or nose, it enters into the body. Now, the germ that may have been there outside, there was a 24-hour curfew that nobody went out for 24 hours. So if there was some germs outside, virus outside, they were dead. So this is how a very good measure was taken. He also, initially what he did is stopped outsiders to come in from outside. They could carry the germ. So because they couldn't come, so possibility of this virus entering into the country also was prevented. And yesterday, as you know, he declared total lockup for 21 days. So that's a good measure. That way China also had been very, very quick in taking the precaution. The Wuhan city, they just closed the whole city. The entire city was in quarantine. Nobody could come out from their house. I heard that they were so strict, they sealed the doors from outside so that they couldn't come out. Nobody could come out from the house. So the germ couldn't spread. They were amazing actually. Within 7 days they built a hospital with 1,000 or 2,000 beds to take care of the patients. Within 7 days built a hospital. Not only building the building, from the scratch they built it and all the facilities was there. China actually is an amazing country. I remember during the Olympics in China, Beijing Olympic, one day it was going to rain. So you can well imagine, one day's game is going to be stopped for rain. So what they did, they sent few thousand rockets to disperse the cloud. And it didn't, they prevented the rain. So, better we don't get into a fight with them. So that also reminds me, this coronavirus attack or this crisis, it has been actually very mercifully came. Because the world is bound to get into some crisis sooner or later. World had to, because people are becoming so sinful. So many cows are being slaughtered, so many animals are being slaughtered, so many children are being aborted. People are completely submerged in these sinful activities of eating all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of sin, and indulging into sinful activities like that, intoxication, prostitution, gambling. The world is totally submerged in these sinful activities. So when they're indulging in such sinful activities, how can we expect that there won't be any reaction? We know that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The way you act, there's bound to be a reaction. People are sinful, and how can we expect that there was not going to be any reaction to that? And this reaction, if this reaction came in the form of a war, what would have happened? If there was a third world war, we can't imagine what could have happened. Even if India gets into a war with Pakistan, two nuclear powers, and that country is totally insane. They can do anything, and then we have those terrorists full of, that country is full of these terrorists. If somehow or other they get access to this nuclear weapon and releases one, what would happen? And these nuclear wars, we don't know the reactions of that. When the first atom bomb was experimented in Alamo desert, so Otto Hahn, who was involved behind this creation of the atom bomb, he was asked how the Third World War will be fought after they dropped the bomb in Japan and the war stopped. He was asked how the Third World War will be fought. He said, I don't know how the Third World War will be fought, but I know how the Fourth World War will be fought. It will be fought with sticks and spears. Because human civilization will be totally finished in the Third World War. And people will go back to the primitive age. They'll fight with sticks and stones and spears. Maybe bows and arrows at the most. So that's how devastating a situation the world is actually today. And we can see that. Just one microbe, one small virus, unicellular, it's just one cell. This virus's body is just one cell. Even in a mosquito's body there are millions of cells. So you can well imagine what a virus is like. So small. And see what it has done. The human beings are claiming that they are so advanced, they made such technological advancement. But this one microbe, Mr. Corona, put the whole world into a standstill. World economy is completely shattered. Nobody knows what's going to happen. America is going to pump in $6 trillion just to stabilize the economy. $6 trillion. You know what is 1 trillion? 1,000 million. First of all, do you know what 1 million is? $1,000 is 1 million. $1,000 million is 1 billion. And $1,000 billion is $1 trillion. And $6 trillion is going to be pumped in. And what is happening, I mean, you can well imagine, like one of the latest planes, big plane, passenger planes, is Airbus 380. And this one plane costs a few $100 million. Just one plane. And thousands of such planes are just stranded. I was supposed to fly back to America on 19th April, and Emirates Airlines, which is actually one of the biggest airlines of today, they sent a note to me that they won't be flying. Maharaj's flight was in June, I think. 6th June. Maharaj's flight, 6th June flight also is like cancelled. So all these flights are cancelled. So that means until June they are not going to fly. So this is how the world situation is. But at least one good thing is, although it has been considered as a pandemic, Pandemic. When it spreads all over the world, it becomes a pandemic. Epidemic and pandemic. Generally in epidemic, 40 to 50, at least 40% of people die in epidemic when they get it. Like there was a big epidemic of cholera in Bengal, and so many people died. So many people. The villages became empty. Everyone died. So we can well imagine if it was an epidemic in real sense, if so many people died, what would have happened? Like in Italy, 64,000 people. 69. In China, 81,000 people. So if, say, in China, if 81,000 people got it and 40% died, then what would have happened? About 48,000 people would have died. But only 3,000 people died. 3.4%. But so that way you can see, although it is contagious, very contagious disease, this spreading, but the casualty rate, mortality rate is very low. The highest is in, I think, Italy. That was about 8%. So anyway, like this is how it is actually. In a way, it's good that it came, it shook us up, but it's not so deadly. Not many people are dying. So this is the world situation, and we have to wake up. And how do we wake up? Become serious about our Krishna consciousness. At a time like this, and becoming serious means you practice Krishna consciousness very seriously and help others. Now we cannot go out, at least wherever we are helping others by not going out. We are undergoing some difficulties, but that's a measure we are taking. That's the way to help others. And whatever the situation becomes, the situation will become very critical. Many people will lose their jobs. Many companies will close down. When these companies close down, then people won't have employment. When people don't have employment, they won't have money. Many people just live from day to day, from hand to mouth. They earn and they just survive. And if they don't have that means, then what will happen? There will be scarcity for food. And then when people are hungry, when they're seeing that their family members are going hungry, what they'll do? They'll go on, start to loot and steal and rob. So we don't really know what's going to happen to this world, but we should be prepared. That's why I suggested that stock food, not for ourselves, but for distribution. Yes, we have stocked few thousand kilos of rice, few thousand kilos of dal, few hundred kilos of chana, rajma, the things that we can keep. And if people are hungry, we'll go out and distribute those food. That's the time our food distribution program will become a real food distribution program. So, Champaklata, when is your flight? When was it? No, I know, but which airlines you're flying? Delta. Delta is closed long time ago. And when was you supposed to? 2nd April. Anyway, at least you are at the right place. I spoke to Shuman Krishna this morning because I know he will be in anxiety. He had a question also like you did the other day. What do we do about attachments? And that's why you were discussing about Uddhav Gita. And Uddhav makes the same point to Krishna. What do we do about our attachments? In this material nature, we develop attachments to our family members, to our relatives, to our friends. Like when Uddhav makes a question like that, what to speak of us? So we have this, naturally we develop these attachments. Then what do we do as a devotee? Do we cut all the attachments? Yes, if you're a sannyasi, you can do that. But not everyone, especially the householders. They're in household, they're in the middle of the family. So they have this. But how to overcome that is by knowledge. With proper knowledge, we develop proper relationship. We have the option to develop our relationship through the body, or we can develop relationship through Krishna. Material and spiritual. You remember, so many times I mentioned the distance between material nature and spiritual nature, distance between material world and spiritual world. What is the distance? Me and Krishna. When I put myself in the center, it's material. When I put Krishna in the center, then it's spiritual. So yes, we develop relationships. But the question is whether we'll do it with me in the center, Krishna in the center. So when you put Krishna in the center, then we develop a relationship that's eternal. Whereas when you put me in the center, as long as I have my body or as long as they have their bodies, we'll have the relationship. And when the body is gone, the relationship will come to an end. Okay, so going back to Uddhav Gita, yesterday I discussed up to text 20 of the 11th canto, 7th chapter. Lord Krishna instructs Uddhav. Uddhav Gita is very important because Uddhav Gita is the final instructions that Krishna is giving in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada said, is the preliminary study, beginning stage. Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary stage. We can say high school lesson. Then Srimad Bhagavatam is graduation course. Then Chaitanya Charitamrita is masters and PhD. So now we can see in Srimad Bhagavatam, finally Krishna is giving this instruction before leaving this planet. So anyway, like we can discuss briefly the text 22. Maybe Krishna is instructing Uddhav, an intelligent person, expert in perceiving the world around him and in applying sound logic, can achieve real benefit through his own intelligence. Thus, sometimes one acts as one's own instructing spiritual master. Text 21. In the human form of life, those who are self-controlled and expert in spiritual science of Sankhya can directly see me along with all of my potencies. So, Krishna is saying that through one's intelligence one can see Krishna. None of our senses can perceive the spiritual reality. With our eyes we cannot see the spiritual world. With our hands we cannot touch the spiritual world or spiritual entities. The only faculty that actually reaches the spiritual domain is intelligence. The example is, like which I often gave you, that example. If I ask, did somebody make this? 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 Did somebody make this world? When we say that, if we say nobody made this, it came as an accident. Just there was a sound and it appeared. It could appear. Sometimes people, by chanting mantra, could make things appear. But not this way. So, did somebody, even if somebody makes it out of mantra, somebody made it. Then how can we say nobody made this world? This universe is a result of a big bang, big sound. And that's what they're accepting as real. Yes, the universe came. So that shows that how stupid their understanding is. But with our proper intelligence, if we consider, then we have to accept, yes, somebody must have made this. Who is that somebody? We may not know him. Just like, who made this? I know somebody made this, but we may not know who made this. But that doesn't mean that no one made this. And if we want to find out who made this universe, we can find out from the scriptures. The informations are there. If we study Bhagavad Gita, the understanding becomes clear. So this is how, through intelligence, we can reach the spiritual domain. Then, of course, there is a proper application of intelligence. And that is what the human form of life is special about. In the human form of life, we have a very advanced intelligence. And through that intelligence, we can decide. We can question. And that question that leads to spiritual reality is called Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa, spiritual inquiry. Spiritual inquiry. And through that inquiry, we can understand. Like today, if we ask, do you know who created this world? I know, every hand will go up. Right? How did you find out? From proper source. And we also know that how he created also we know. Mahavishnu lying in causal ocean, and then as he's breathing, the bubbles that are generated are the universes. Innumerable bubbles are coming out from his breathing. And each bubble is an universe. Then he enters into the universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He lies in the water that is generated from his body. And from his navel comes out a lotus. And Brahma, the first created being in this world, in this universe, came from the Lord that way. And in this way we get to know the whole secret or mystery or wisdom, knowledge about creation. Creation is not just a matter of accident. From accident we never get order. But do we find any disorder in this universe? From accident there is chaos. From accident never comes order. The order comes from intelligent arrangement. And behind that intelligent arrangement, there must be a person. And ultimately, behind everything, there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes, who is the arranger of all the arrangements. That is Krishna. Perfect understanding. And we function accordingly. Then we get to see, this world actually, this world is in darkness. This world is completely dark. At night, we see, it's completely dark. But then in the morning the sun comes up. Everything becomes lit up. And then we can see. And we can act. We need food. What a beautiful arrangement. The fruits and grains and vegetables, they are there. And their fruits are coming from the trees. And in the fruit there are seeds. From the seed comes a tree. In the tree there are fruits. In the fruits there are seeds. In the seeds there are trees. In the trees there are fruits. In the fruits there are seeds. In the seeds there are trees. What an amazing arrangement. The thing is that nobody challenges the so-called scientists. They are saying so boldly, we will create life. Are Baba, you don't have to create life. Just create a seed of an apple. Just create a seed of an apple. From that a tree will come out. In the tree there will be apples. In the apples there will be seeds. And so forth. Can anybody accept can any scientist accept the challenge? No. Nobody can accept this challenge. That's why they're avoiding these kind of challenges. One of my godbrothers, Hamsaduta Prabhu, challenged one scientist who was kind of claiming that God doesn't exist. So Hamsaduta actually made one challenge to him, that you don't have to create life. You create an egg. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So he said, just create an egg. Naturally, his challenge was, from the egg a chicken will come out. And his point was that you can't create an egg, but a chicken can. Therefore a chicken is a better scientist than you are. Prabhupada wanted us actually to challenge them and expose them. There was an article in Back to Godhead once, based on an interview by Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada boldly declared that these scientists are bluffing. The article was "Scientists Bluff." Scientists bluff. And it was very well appreciated. Scientists bluff. They're just bluffing. And they're claiming, we went to moon. The other day I actually made a kind of proposal that from here we see moon. And moon is reflecting, according to them, moon is reflecting the light from the sun. So you went to moon and from moon you saw the earth. Is earth reflecting the light of the sun? So then how can you claim that moon is reflecting the light of the sun? This is how they're... But we have such clear understanding. They have their own light. Sun has its own light. Moon has its own light. Moon is not reflecting sun's rays. Moon has its own light. And not only that, moon is a planet of nectar. Even regular farmers have that understanding that the trees and vegetables, they have juice, right? That we actually eat. That nourishes the body. Fruit has juice, vegetables have juice, grains have juice. They know that there's growth and production of vegetables and grains and fruits have its link with the moon. So moon is a planet of nectar, and all the nectar that is the food grains are getting is coming from the moon. Sun is giving energy, moon is giving nectar. This is how scientific our understanding is. So clear understanding, such wonderfully scientifically understood or presented this understanding. Life has 6 symptoms life has. Every life, whether it's a tree, whether it's a plant, whether it's an insect, even whether it's a coronavirus. Birth, growth, change, reproduction, decay, death. So 6 symptoms. Whether it's an unicellular entity like a virus, or whether it's a human being, they all go through these 6 symptoms. Born, grows, changes, reproduces, decay, death. And there are 4 types of procreation. From sweat. Sweat comes from the body. Like these unicellular animals or living entities, how they are generated, how they are born, how they are reproduced. Right. The cell has a nucleus, the nucleus splits, and then eventually the split nucleus makes another entity from the body, like sweat, like amoeba or viruses, they grow like that. Then udbhijas, trees and plants from seeds. Then andaja, reptiles and birds and insects from eggs. And jarayuja, animals and human beings They are from embryo. Do the scientists know that? Did anybody read that in their biology book? At least I did not. And even the high and most advanced scientists dealing with this biochemistry and biology, zoology, they don't have this information. So this is how profound the Vedic wisdom is. So why should we not have full faith in the Vedic knowledge? Krishna is there, Krishna created everything, Krishna is maintaining everything, and Krishna is providing everything for us. So if Krishna is there, why shouldn't we depend upon Him? If He is taking care of me, then why shouldn't we depend upon Him? And we know that if we surrender unto Krishna, if we depend upon Krishna, then Krishna will fulfill the purpose of our existence. He'll get us back to the spiritual world. And that's why we all are here. We have the knowledge, and now we must distribute this knowledge. Anyway, today I couldn't discuss much about the Uddhav Gita as such, but we also thought of doing some kirtan. We started one online kirtan. Those who are participating in the class, even though they are away wherever they are, they can join this kirtan. How many joined today? And how many questions are there? Many? Okay, let's see a few questions we can answer at least. How many joined? Questions are in WhatsApp, yeah? So a question from Sita Anandini from Auckland, New Zealand. Please bless me to work with expected COVID-19. And our ICU ward. For me, no lockdown, I am working. Okay, so take precaution, Sita Anandini. If you have to go to your work, so I'm sure since you are working in the ICU ward, then hospital is taking proper precaution. Next question is from Kanha from Melbourne, son of Shyamsundar Krishna. My father pushed me to become awake, and I am so happy to hear your class. It was so nice to hear your sweet voice. Maharaj, I wanted to ask you from karma perspective that if cows or other animals are getting slaughtered, or for that matter, if one person hurts another person, then the victim must have done something bad in his previous life, and he is suffering as a reaction, and the perpetrator is a mere instrument. So can this be even overcome if we are bound to hurt as a reaction to the recipient? Thank you very much, Kanha. Kanha is just a little boy, and what an intelligent question he's asking. Yes, Kanha, the reaction is like somebody slaughters a cow, kills a cow, even eats its meat, and gets involved in the process, he'll have to suffer the reaction. And in most cases, they have to be born as a cow, and the cow will be born as a human being and slaughter him. So, in a way, that is the nature's law. Now that is the karmic result. But the person who got the human form of life now, who has been slaughtered by a cow, he can be very compassionate and say, okay, my dear friend, you killed me in my last life, but I am not going to take revenge. I am not going to kill you. Actually, this is one way to look at it also, Kanha, that so many cows are being slaughtered because those who slaughtered those cows, they have been born as a cow and they are destined to be slaughtered. But the way to counteract that process is just by being merciful. When you get the human form of life, no matter what they may have, others may have done to me in my previous life, our attitude, especially as a devotee, is to forgive. So forgiveness is a very, very noble characteristic, noble quality. So as a devotee, our mood is, you hurt me, but I'm not going to hurt you. Whatever you have done to me is fine, but you become a devotee. Does it answer your question, Kanha? So next is Amrita Vilasini Dasi from UK. Okay, Amrita Vilasini, you said that we need to learn to think about what Krishna wants, how he feels, but how can we do it? Do we start from trying to understand how devotees around us feel and try to act in a way which pleases them? Is that the first step? Is my understanding right? Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, Amrita Vilasini. But the best way is how Krishna feels, how Krishna thinks, how Krishna acts, is to get it from the scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Sattvic Purans, we get to hear, we get to know how Krishna feels. How Krishna feels. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna wants everyone to love him. So that's what he wants. And when we love Krishna, then Krishna becomes happy. And we also become happy. And your point is good, that devotees are reflecting Krishna's qualities. So that is another way of looking at it. But the best way is to read the scriptures and get to hear or get to understand how Krishna behaved, how Krishna acted. And Krishna himself is saying, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Now that aspect you won't see in a devotee. A devotee may be doing Paritranaya sadhunam, but you won't find a devotee taking a sword and killing the demons. Only Krishna does that. Takes a chakra, chops off the head of the demons. Divya Hasija from Indore. Guru Maharaj, as in yesterday's class, you told, achieving Krishna, everything becomes achieved. And by following it, one can live a life of no anxiety. Even hearing about Corona bothers me sometimes, why I am not able to trust Krishna's plan. Even after knowing Krishna is my only well-wisher. Guru Maharaj, how should I overcome this and understand and apply your teachings by heart? Yes, see, Krishna is so merciful that Krishna is taking care of you so nicely that you didn't get coronavirus. So isn't it Krishna's mercy? But at the same time, you also use your intelligence. Stay at home, don't go out. And if at all, you go out, wash your hands and feet with soap. try to avoid any possibility of contacting. So Krishna is taking care of us. At the same time, Krishna gave us intelligence also to act in a way to avoid these kind of situations. The Artik is at 7. Okay. So last question from Maheshwar Krishna Das from Guna. I had heard that desire to go back to Godhead is not good one, should only ask service of the Lord. But Srila Prabhupada writes that one should have strong desire to get out of this material world. Kindly dissipate my doubt, Guru Maharaj. Yes, our business is to serve Krishna. But at the same time, we should get out of the material nature. And when you serve Krishna, you are not in the material nature. You are with Krishna. But a less advanced devotee, a neophyte devotee, may desire to go back to Godhead. That's all right. But when that neophyte devotee becomes advanced devotee, then he says, Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhakti rahitu kita. It's a matter of degree of advancement. When you're more advanced, you say, Krishna, I want to serve you no matter where. But if you're less advanced, then he'll say, let me go back to Godhead. So let's consider that at the beginning we are less advanced, so at the beginning let's try to go back to Godhead. And then when we become advanced, then we realize that by being engaged in devotional service, we are already in back to Godhead. When you are rendering service to Krishna, we are already in the spiritual world. An example, for that matter, there is a prison house. In the prison house, generally there are prisoners. But the person who is serving the king, although he is in the prison house, is he a prisoner? So similarly, those who are serving Krishna, although they are in this material nature, which is a prison house, they are not prisoners. They are free, they are liberated. And they render service, and then after rendering service, they go home, back to Godhead. Thank you. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I am so happy to see all of you. And please, as I said, use your intelligence to take care of yourself very nicely. And if you have any difficulty, just let us know. I know it is difficult to be concealed in your room or house. I know, especially for children. Yesterday I was saying that some children were playing cricket on the other side. And even I saw some of our little children also. They were perambulating in the courtyard. So it's okay. But be careful. Don't go out. Just stay within. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Tulsi Arati.